2 of that Sacha Baron Cohen show. It's you going like gay gentleman and then having to like renounce your seat in Congress.
I can't believe that show got a guy fired. Like,
I mean, yeah, on the first episode.
Second episode.
Okay, fair enough.
But yes,
respect.
That's pretty fucking good.
Hell yeah.
By all accounts, he was low hanging fruit. He was not a popular.
No, he's not. He'd already lost his primary. Like he wasn't coming back.
That's right.
But even still, it's like before the show, I was like, this is gonna be super fun. But like honestly, who cares? Like satire is not really doing what people think that it should do.
It's toothless. Doesn't have the power to make
it's all toothless now. I did not expect any actual consequences from what the show was, but I've been proven wrong already.
Do you think like you would be fooled though, because that makeup looks fucking insane?
It looks like haunted house makeup.
Somebody was like, he looks like a sim. Like he looks. He does not look like a real person.
And is that anti-Semitism though? Where everyone's like
that anti-Semitism, but with an I instead of an E.
You motherfucker! How dare you?
Can we do? We got to write a sketch that's about the Holocaust, and it's just people in horizontal stripes, and they're like, "Blah blah 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 blah." We'll recut Hitler. We'll recut "Life Is Beautiful" by Roberto Benigni with Singlish or whatever.
Hitler's looking at a map, and he's like, "Okay, we'll build a wall. We'll build a small house around them. We'll put them here, and then we'll build the house around them. We won't put a door in it so they can't get out.
We will march the children into a swimming pool, and then we will remove the ladder and watch them drown."
Honestly, Schindler's List, instead of the girl with the red coat, she just has the green diamond.
Schindler's List. All right, fuck it, we're going live. This is We Are Definitely Afraid of the Dark. It is the scary movie podcast for people who are scared of everything. We were going to plan this bad boy, but we got on a roll. And so we're putting it on wax.
Yeah.
I am Steven Smith. I'm scared of everything.
And I am Kyle Romero, and I'm a big brave boy. Uh-oh, you may have noticed something there. It's not our usual order.
Hello, what's this? We've skipped someone. Our dearly beloved Emma Holder is not with us this week. She's in the wilds of Maine. That's right. She's in the forest. And in her absence, we decided to up the ante a bit. Take ourselves out of our safe zone, our safe place, which is Kyle's apartment at high noon on a Saturday, all windows fully drawn or open, so that all the natural light can stream in. And we went to a proper movie theater.
We did it.
We sat in the dark. We saw a movie that's currently in theaters. And we couldn't do it alone because that would just be sad. Just me and Kyle sitting here talking about it. So we brought back our number one stan, Wet Daddy Emeritus, future Wikipedia creator and editor of the We Are Definitely Afraid of the Dark Wikipedia page, local comedian, Dylan Garsee.
Hi, I'm back, bitches.
He's back.
I'm back, darlings. I would like to introduce. Can we change it from local comedian to person who has brought the only 5 out of 5 scary movie?
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, man.
You pointed out something that I've been wanting to do for a while, which is like, as a kind of like historian, go back and make sure that we're tracking these ratings.
Yeah, we definitely should.
But I think you're probably right. I'm safe in saying that both Emma and I gave it out of 5.
Yes.
I can't remember what I rated it. Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure you gave it a 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah, that feels right. But I would say it's definitely the most extreme we've watched so far.
Yeah.
So congratulations, you fucking pervert weirdo.
That's me.
If you're new to the podcast, and maybe if you just started listening the last couple of weeks, if you're a fan of Jen Brown and you came into the fold via Jen, first of all, welcome.
Yeah, we're glad to have you.
I mean, why listen to a few episodes? Why not mash that subscribe button? Anyway, you might remember us shouting out and then immediately shitting on Dylan in our live episode because Dylan was in the audience. And Jen took issue with you picking Inside as our 4th episode, 3rd with a guest.
She was extremely animated when we told her about it.
I think she got up
during the Friday the 13th watch. She was actually much more subdued at the show because she had time to process. But when we initially told her, she kind of lost it. She seemed worried about us.
She because it was so wild about that is like we're at Emma's house, we're watching Friday the 13th before we go to the theater to record that live ep, and it comes up apropos of nothing. I do not think that she definitely didn't know that we'd watched it. She hadn't listened to that episode. And she's just talking about being at a film festival, and she's there with her podcast partner who told her to see it, but refused to watch it again. And Jen's waxing on and on about how horrifying this movie is, how it's great, how it's this sort of like feminist bent, but it is a brutal watch. And then there's just this pregnant pause in the room, and we're like, oh yeah, we watched that for our 4th episode. And she's like, shook.
Yeah.
And her fiance shook. Nobody can believe. And then, I mean, you know her socially. You know her from the Community.
Yeah. She had just watched these two absolute cowards watch Friday the 13th, a movie for children, and bolt out of their seats screaming. And then they just casually dropped, oh yeah, we saw Inside. No big deal.
And I had to bring it up because I know that you will. I know that you're like a troll to a certain extent. You're a postmodern, youthful, pluckish gay troll. So you just came to torment us, and we leaned. In our defense too, we leaned in to your onslaught. We watched that movie, and we're the better for it. I mean. I hope, no disrespect to anybody who's been on the show before, but it is, I think, my favorite episode because it is us deeply out of our comfort zone.
Yeah, like it's real shit.
And it is like so topsy-turvy to me because I do feel like I had a physical response to that horrible movie. It is the only one I regularly think about. I just stop and will have moments every day throughout my day where I think about literally a camera not moving away as that woman cuts open a stomach. And it being fairly convincing when you're looking at it through a blanket.
Through a blanket through your phone as I'm describing it to you.
And then add to that the fact that Emma was horrified, but better off than me. So that's difficult because she's a rock of, I can always count on her. I'm getting choked out. I can always count on her to be as or more miserable than I am. And then, of course, Kyle's like, that was a horrible movie, but he's just delighting in our discomfort. So it's just like peak everything that this is.
Now, hold on. I don't recall the episode, but I don't think I thought it was a horrible movie. Did I? Did I say that?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm putting words in it.
No. I just want to be sure.
Like was the baby animation.
Because, the baby animation is trash. Get that bullshit out of here. Fuck that. But what my relationship with the movie since then, because that was my first time seeing it too, and I've been like noticing it on a lot more like lists of like new classics. So I'm just like, I'm a little bit regretful that I did not get the real experience of watching it. That the first time I saw it, I had to watch it with you fucking ding-dongs. Just losing your mind the entire time.
I saw it in theaters.
Oh, God, that sounds wonderful.
Fabulous.
That is... Okay, so this is just a point of view to just sort of like, again, give you maybe some context. I think I've told Kyle about this before. We have something of a lost episode. It might see the light of day at some point in time, but we're trying to figure out like how we do this live format, like or how we do movies that we see in the theater, right? Yeah. And so we tried Hereditary. And so what's interesting about this is like, and we don't even need to talk about Hereditary because I don't give a fuck. I already see you drifting off.
Do not
like
give me to Hereditary or Nanette.
Oh boy.
Nanette is the Hereditary of comedy.
in the sense that it totally reinvented the genre, and everything else before and after will be measured to its standard. No. Okay, so we get it.
No, Nanette.
So in this, so we did a lot of like weird things, like a lot of like archival weird like points of view and like quick video diaries and stuff like that leading up to just Kyle and I seeing it. And then the premise was we're going to go see the movie. And then the next day we're going to see Emma and we're going to like recite the movie beat for beat. And so like, if you listen to the show, you know that this is a thing that's happened to both Emma and I. Like we've had movies told to us that we're too scared to see. So it's like, we're going to sort of like record that for posterity.
Really dry.
It's a bit dry.
Really
I think
dry.
all the stuff leading up to it is interesting, and then it's just me and Kyle
Mansplaining.
And then we did not think at all about the fact that it's two white men
badgering
a woman who does not want to hear it.
Well, she looks at her phone and occasionally looks up and says like, "What, really?" and just feigns interest.
It is literally two children talking to their mom, going and then the head got cut off, and you can hear it, and then she's going, "Oh wow!"
And she played with dolls, but it wasn't like when girl play with dolls. It was like cool.
There's a girl, and she's got a messed up face, but we don't know if we're allowed to talk about her face being messed up.
Because I looked it up, and it's like that, real.
I mean, there's two children, but they're also afraid of starting a firestorm of controversy about that. Anyway, so like,
not a good app.
So that episode, it dry in the best of terms, but anyway, so it has all these things. It has like me and Kyle like talking about how I'm doing before we go into the theater. Potentially interesting. We might give it away as a minisode.
No, I think it's going in the Wadad vault.
It's going in that vault, right? When we open up that Patreon, only subscribers are going to get that sweet gem. And anyway, so I record this like weird audio diary before I get in a car and drive to Kyle to the theater. And I know it didn't affect you. And I know you didn't like it. I really bought into all the hype of that movie. I was really, really scared. And it did a number on me in the theater. I told you about it, how I was like, that dude was like right next to me. It was at South Lamar Draft House, and I was just like literally just having a physical reaction. I say on tape before I go to that movie, it can't be that bad. If it was that bad, it would be illegal. So I'm really like operating in this sort of like moral legislative space where like things that are truly, truly depraved can't even make it to the screen. I'm a Tipper Gore, man.
Yeah,
I'm Tipper Gore.
You do not understand the world at all.
And you saw Inside in a movie theater.
Yes.
In public.
Yeah, I saw it in San Antonio. I saw it
in San Antonio.
In San Antonio, baby. The Alamo Draft House, the one that I used to work at.
Oh, San Antonio. I thought I knew you, man.
Wow.
That's wild to me that was in theaters.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I get it in like a kind of like a festival circuit, or
I think it was like a one-off thing.
Yeah,
because it was October when I moved there, and they did High Tension Inside and Martyr.
What? Oh, sure, yeah.
Both French Extremity.
Yeah, it was that sort of like triple feature.
Well, Inside was a big Fantastic Fest hit, right? They played it at Fantastic Fest, and they lost their fucking mind.
Sure. Well, obviously.
And that was the same thing that they used to do monthly screenings, like shadow cast of not Rocky Horror, but Repo the Genetic Opera. Which is
you
the
mentioned
most
this
shit in the
in
world.
your episode.
Yes.
Like I said, I really like that episode. I've listened to it a number of times.
Me too.
Okay.
What?
You just admitted that on microphone.
It's very
incredible.
I don't know. I think
I have to.
It's this delightful format, really coming to its own very early on.
I fast forward through. I made a special edit for myself where I don't listen to myself at all. I listen to everybody else's parts of the conversation.
Yeah, you motherfuckers are allegedly my friend, but nobody's given me just like like sort of notes, just some pointers about the obscene level of giggling that is happening on this side of the mic. Also,
I love it.
Everybody else is able to communicate with their eyes and like sort of physical gestures to indicate that I'm listening to the story that you're telling. This guy is a humming and yahing through goddamn everything everybody says.
Well, on the same token, hey, let's get it out there.
Let's get it out there.
Nobody's telling me about my breathy laughs. I start with a wheeze.
Wait, Dylan,
yes.
You are a number one fan.
Yes.
Wet Daddy Emeritus.
Give us some notes.
Give us some pointers, dude. What's working and what isn't working? Let's workshop this motherfucker on mic.
On mic.
Okay. I don't know. Am I ever going to be invited back on?
You probably will.
Probably
Okay, good, I better be.
won't. I
Thank
was gonna
God.
say. So we're
Okay.
gonna have a conversation after this and find out what's going on.
It's perfect. I love it. No,
No notes.
no notes. I have no notes.
Okay.
I love it so much.
You heard him, audience.
This is one of the few podcasts like this, like Night Call and Who Weekly, are like that I have to.
Don't talk about other podcasts.
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
Sorry.
These mobbed up network podcasts. Fuck
Yeah.
that.
There's only so much bandwidth that people have to download podcasts. We can't have them given into those.
You're listening to The Boy Zone, where three boys
Yeah.
rap about the media they're into. Cue that Boy Zone theme.
Drop here.
It's great. I listen to y'all immediately, and it's like hanging out while I'm at work with
Bless
my
you.
best friends.
Well, I mean, it is a fun thing tonight because we're all slaves to the content. So tonight we're making content.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
mind. All right.
Yeah, we're
Way to
currently
burst
making
my own.
content. We have no actual genuine experiences anymore.
We played half a game of the Illimat.
Okay.
I want to explain that is a card game brought to you by the Decemberists. That's right. The band, the Decemberists, made a card game.
So if
and
you're-
it actually kind of fucking rules,
It
turns
slaps.
out. It's really good.
So if you're a maiden who's stuck in a lighthouse, or you're a sea captain,
Or the ghost of David Foster Wallace.
we're on my broom of the system head. That's right, deeper cut, infinite jest is for noobs. Deeply unlikable writer.
And abusive.
Yeah. And like when I'm reading a newspaper, like a physical newspaper, I don't see 7D or whatever. I don't turn pages. No, dude. I grew up with the internet. If you're writing someone with footnotes, you can fuck off.
Not a chance I'm touching that. Not touching that at all. I will, however, keep the book on my bookshelf for potential mates to understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is everybody's what is the one thing at your house that if you have like a potential smash buddy? What do people call it nowadays?
Smash Buddy.
That you hope they see.
Super Smash Buddies.
that you think is gonna seal the deal. Clearly, we've got a literary mind over here. Kyle's got
nice.
infinite jest.
Not the real answer, but I don't know what the real answer is. Actually.
Is it that? It's got to be that cherry poster.
It could be it could be my Pee Wee Herman watercolors. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Or it could be the 5th grade physical education achievement award that I have from West Orange Sark
Nice.
Middle School hanging on my wall. That I think is the greatest conversation piece that I have in my home.
Is it presidential physical fitness?
No, it's just a regular, like, they were just giving awards internally. WOS middle school kids were getting awards. And I got one for some reason, even though I literally have never done a pull-up or sit-up or push-up.
Those are all really hard things.
Those
I
are all
can't
really
do
hard
them.
things.
Yeah. Let's talk about what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
Why
Yes.
are we here? So I don't know. So like we said, Emma, she's in Maine. She's visiting her home island. This is again a sort of, we should not have like inter episode continuity, but like after we recorded that live episode, she did clarify that it's an island that at least 10,000 people live on. But an island is an island, be it a Long Island or a Main Island, it's still an island.
Or Australia.
Yeah, exactly. But she can't be with us. But also, I think is on record, definitely in our conversations, in our sort of like group chat, she does not. She's getting some new rules. I'm still pretty squarely like torture porn's kind of like my rule. She's saying no to Blair Witch.
Yeah, she's hard out on Blair Witch.
God,
for sure.
Blair Witch is so good, though.
Yeah, it rules.
It's very good. She does not want the woods spoiled for her, which I think is a totally reasonable justification. But
I think that's. But I mean, there's so many movies set in the woods. We can't go.
is that really going to be like a problem?
I mean, with horror movies, yeah, there's a lot
Yes,
of
the
movies
woods are
where the woods are a
scary.
big part because they are scary.
Ugh. Boy, aren't they? So are like handmade little dolls that are just
Yes.
hanging in the woods.
Christ. Yeah.
Anyway, and then she also doesn't want to see movies in the theater because we've built a very elaborate scaffolding for this, where we talk, We do a lot of them in the daytime. We've done more daytime than nighttime episodes. We're snacking. She's working. You can take bathroom breaks at the drop of a hat if you need to. And now, having seen Hereditary, as mentioned, and then tonight's movie, come on. The pause is for an assist. I cannot remember what the full name.
Sorry. Unfriended, Dark Web.
Dark Web. Okay. I remember the first part. So I've now seen 2 movies in the theater. It's a tough experience for a coward, man.
Yeah.
And so she's, I think, smart to be like, I'm out for that.
Yeah, she knows her boundaries, she knows her limits.
And as someone who lives on the internet as much as Emma does, could you imagine if she's like, I can't do the forest or the internet now?
She doesn't need to see this movie.
No.
There's Yeah. I mean, this is the first time too where I've specifically we've been watching a movie and I thought this is gonna be hard later because again I'm alone and you two sweet butts are here, but y'all are gonna fuck off.
Bye.
And then just notice the absence of blinds and everything's a scary pain,
blackness.
Yeah, and I will take my computer to bed with me as a sort of consolation to hold back demons, but not tonight, man.
Not tonight. That's the thing that's gonna do you in.
All right, so
read in bed.
What did we watch? We watched
Unfriended Dark Web.
Unfriended Dark Web.
So, tell me a little bit of backstory. So, you, Kyle, recently saw the first in this franchise.
Yeah, so the release of Unfriended Dark Web, I wasn't really interested in the Unfriended movies at all. But
they look so fucking dumb.
The
trailers look
extremely
so
bad,
dumb.
extremely dumb. But I did see the Dark Web trailer in theaters and thought, okay, this looks real stupid, but interesting. Wasn't at all interested in the first Unfriended, but then I started reading from people that had seen Dark Web at South by, and we're talking about how it's this great little thriller, and it's rare that a movie that is 90 minutes long comes out that is just you don't feel it's a huge investment. It's just kind of fun. You get in, get out, you're done. It's not trying to say a lot. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I could get into that. I could do that. And I'm really into. I feel like I'm transitioning into this movie phase right now. Not phase, but just I'm currently watching trash, just real garbage,
right?
Horror movies, really really bad shit. Because there was shout out to Joe Bob Briggs, horror movie critic extraordinaire. He just did a marathon on Shudder where he shows a lot of trash movies.
Okay.
And so I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, this looks like good trash. So I watched the first one. It's garbage. It's really, really bad. It's a proof of concept for the way to make a movie that all takes place on a computer screen, and that they succeed.
Yeah,
because that's really hard to do. And they did it. The movie
not that hard to do.
Well, not hard. Well, actually, no. I was listening to the director of this new one talk about it, and he talked about how it's basically making an animated movie.
Yeah,
that he didn't realize it's like making an animated play. Because you can't cut away really, and it's all but little things like animating the mouse.
Yep.
Cursor.
I am a motion graphics designer by trade. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this took way longer than people anticipate it took in terms of trying to do realistic movements, all this sort of cursor signifiers, circling stuff that you're supposed to look at so you don't miss what's happening.
I love on an ASMR level of movie, what's the word where you make the sounds?
Foley artists.
I love what typing on keys and mouse click sounds like.
Sounds great.
I love that shit. I don't like the physical your fingernails on a keyboard. That's gross and weird. I like the sound of
depressing,
the actual pressing.
Yeah.
And I love this movie was very relaxing on that level.
Okay, you're
this
a fucking
is
asshole.
troll opinion right now.
No.
Okay.
You had a look I saw the look in your eyes as you said that, and you're like, let me drop this. Some of us sound real cool.
The hottest take of all time.
Well, so there is this thing too that I'm sort of starting to kind of understand, Dylan, your sort of your media sensibility, what you like, both ironically and unironically. And so you even said on the previous episode where you were really you kind of Lil Uzi Vert, that sort of SoundCloud rap, this stuff that is that is so postmodern that it's bad and good simultaneously. Mm-hmm. It's the low elevated to high art status. And so to me, I don't need to see Unfriended. I think Unfriended's bad compared to this. what we just saw compared to Dark Web, and I think you do love it. You think it's good.
I think the first Unfriended is good. Like, I think it's great.
Okay.
Honestly, because it's something that is just like the first time in a long time I've seen like how can we completely reinvent a thriller? And I feel like a lot of like when thrillers are reinvented, it's just more of like, what if we called back to the 80s version of like a slasher thriller? This is a new way of us to scare you.
Yeah.
That is, and I like what makes Unfriended so interesting to me, at least, is like I feel like in most horror movies, it's sort of how do you look at the screen as much? Like, how do you look at the most amount of screen real estate for a scare to happen? So, like, whenever, like in Hereditary, spoiler for Hereditary. Like,
also, just throwing it up there real fast because we forgot to do it. We're spoiling this movie, and it's currently in theaters.
Yes.
I'll throw something at the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
But that scene in Hereditary where it's like you can kind of see her come from the corner, and like that's a big trope in like sort of thrillers of just like you're just waiting for like what part of the screen is the terror going to come from. This movie is so hectic and crazy that you're constantly looking, and you're playing. Your eyes are just looking at two different things at the same time, trying to figure it out.
You're looking at 5 different things at the same time because you're trying to both follow the plot but anticipate like where the thing. And that is what's interesting about it.
Yes,
arguably, like is that like it's all going to come from like one of these browser windows. I mean, like you know where it's going to come from. They have like a kind of interesting interplay between like the focal window and sometimes stuff that's happening when it's overlapped.
If
just
you want
in the corner.
spiciest take of all time, that's spicier than I love this for an ASMR thing.
Yeah.
The closest movie that I can think of this, that I can compare this to, I get the fuck ready.
I mean, like, literally, if you're listening to this at work, home, in the car, like, start drum rolling, because this...
Have you ever seen the Jean-Luc Godard movie, Goodbye to Language?
This is what I'm talking about. I think Unfriended is a great movie. Also, it's where my French New Wave heads at.
Incredible take.
I like French Extremity and New Wave.
Spiciest take. I fucking love it.
Have any of y'all seen Goodbye to Language?
No.
So Goodbye to Language, it came out I think in 2014, 2015. It was a 3D movie he did.
Okay.
But he plays with 3D and like you physically have to take the glasses off a lot because he'll interplay two different scenes on top of each other.
Oh,
where if you close your left eye, it'll be one thing. If you close your right, it'll be a different thing. And there's a lot of like, some scenes will be in 3D, some will be in 2D, but like, you'll see it
depending on which
depending on like how you're
filtering it.
And so it's the idea of like, this is sort of playing with the concept of like the screen. And so this is how that's the closest relative I can think of.
Well, I think the thing that's interesting about this is like, again, I don't know a lot about horror movies, but I know that like when cell phones became ubiquitous, everyone's like, oh, that's the end of the horror movie, right? Because it's like you can always call for help. It's so funny. We saw Scream last week, and it's like incriminating at one point in time when Skeet Ulrich drops his very large mobile phone, because it's like, why on earth would you have that?
Cell phone?
But if you can suddenly start calling for help, and then you get a lot of, it almost becomes hack. It's like, oh no, I don't have reception out here, or my phone's dying.
Oh my god, this is what happened in the X-Files. Okay. Like this is what happened in season like 7, 8, 9 of X-Files.
Yeah.
Where like cell phones, it started to be a thing where they were like, well, we can't just have them not have a cell phone.
Yeah.
So there are fucking so many, because that show is all about like, oh, what happens in these small towns all throughout America that nobody ever visits.
Yeah.
Like what horrors are happening there. Mulder and Scully are going to go figure it out. Well, now they have cell phones and they can just call for help or whatever.
Just
take a picture
yeah.
of whatever alien thing that's happening. Luckily, I don't think camera phones were like a thing yet. But every single episode, it's like, oh, hold on, I'm losing you or whatever. The spaceship is giving some sort of electromagnetic interference.
We found a UFO in a tunnel.
It's like all the episodes take place like in middle of nowhere, Montana, where there's just like no reception. It's like, no, we can't hear you now.
That's why there's all that weird New Mexico offensive indigenous people shit in the X-Files. They're like, we're going to New Mexico where it's the desert, and we're doing all this shit there in the later seasons.
Like turquoise.
Well, that is what this movie does pretty effectively, and I would imagine like to me it feels like a pastiche of other things that have happened kind of recently. Like, but anyway, the point is, it knows what it has to do, and then like leans into it. So it's like, all right, so technology is ubiquitous. Like, it has to become part of the kind of like like visual language or like plotting of these movies to a certain extent, unless you're doing like, I don't know if that Nun movie looks like it's a throwback.
Oh my God, The Nun looks so fucking good.
The Nun.
Should we stop and just talk about the trailers?
Yes.
Yeah. So there was a trailer for The Nun, which is a prequel. It's just in the universe of all the Conjuring movies.
I honestly lost the story.
How many
of the
are there
Conjuring.
though? Because there's multiple Annabelles.
So there's Conjuring, Conjuring 2, Annabelle, Annabelle Creation.
Yes.
Okay.
Which actually fucking rules.
I didn't like Annabelle 1.
Oh, I didn't like Annabelle 1, but
That's a doll. That's a scary doll.
I like Dead Silence though.
Dead Silence is pretty good.
Is that an Annabelle movie?
No, but same director.
Okay.
He made it before all this.
Yeah.
But Annabelle, I think it's called Annabelle Creation.
That sounds right.
It's fucking great. Like, go watch Annabelle Creation.
Done.
It's a prequel to Annabelle. The timeline is bananas. Anyway, the Nun is a character that appears in The Conjuring 2, which is exactly what happened with Annabelle in the first one. It's just like they put these side characters in these movies and they build off them. It's totally like the Marvel model or whatever, but just applied to horror. It's great. The Nun looks like kind of a 70s-ish throwback, but
it's also deep Eastern Europe, so it's basically the 50s.
Yeah, yes. So it's got that going on, but it's also this like it's very modern in its like approach, and it's got that like Catholic horror thing.
Yeah, that's been
that I
coming
feel
up
like
a lot.
nobody is doing
The
really
Paranormal
well.
series.
You've seen Paranormal Activity?
Yeah, those turned real
Oh
quick.
yeah.
Catholic,
They turn very Catholic. That's right. But even then, it's like it's kind of tertiary. But like the Nun seems like obviously it's big time a part of it.
Yes.
Well, so the Conjuring cinematic universe or whatever, this sort of like, I say this all the time. You know, sometimes we do some light coaching when people come on the show. It's like bring these movies to the cast because we've done. I mean, we haven't scraped the bottom of the barrel, but like we've done slasher.
Yeah.
We need to get some hauntings up in this motherfucker
Yes.
quick. We
Yeah.
need ghosts. We need haunted
Demons.
houses. We need possession.
Yeah.
We need exorcism. All that kind of stuff.
Aliens. Let's get some alien horror.
Some aliens, some
movies.
monsters. Like
Dude, fire in the sky in this motherfucker.
We need, well, that sucks, doesn't it?
Man.
That's
Yeah,
like
it kinda
Noah
sucks.
Wiley or something. No, I'm thinking of something else.
You're thinking of,
But I know what
you're thinking
of ER.
You're thinking of Pirates of Silicon Valley.
There
Where's
is a
some other
weird
Noah Wiley
future
movies?
dystopia, like District 13-y kind of show with Noah Wiley, I think, where he's like rugged.
Oh, it's Skyfall. No, Sky
Skylanders.
Yeah.
Sky Mall. Yes,
But
that you said.
like Conjuring universe in
Falling
particular, because like
Falling
they
Skies.
Falling Skies. There you
Yeah.
go. It fits into that pocket of what I think we're trying to do, and that is contemporary. It's part of the sort of like cultural conversation. They're good movies
Yeah,
by
they're
all
good.
accounts, both like as movies and then for their sort of like genre.
Right.
So like I'm down to clown.
Good.
They're extremely effective scary movies.
Yeah,
and they're
that's
just,
the one that has like I see a gif of it a lot where there's like a little demon hiding behind
Oh,
somebody.
that's Insidious.
That's Insidious. Yeah,
Which is
Same director.
67% of a good movie, and then it just completely falls apart at the end.
okay.
The first.
So
like,
who's
half
Insidious?
of
James
Insidious.
Wan?
James
Also
Wan.
James Wan.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
these like Insidious. Both Conjurings. It's all James Wan.
What I love about the Insidious series is that they focus on like the grandmother character, which is like we need more like character like movies that
Scary
are
old
centered
ladies.
around by like grandmothers. Just like hell yeah,
Yeah, fucking Lynn Shay, man.
yeah.
How are you guys enjoying our Unfriended Dark Web episode? Are you into it so
Well,
far?
I mean, this is like the jury's out on whether or not this is entertaining for people to listen to, but particularly like we're leaning it hard into the like tell Steven stuff that he could look up online content because Emma's not here to make us sane. She would pull us back from the brink.
Yeah.
So-
all right, let's. Oh, sorry.
Okay, I was gonna bring it into Unfriended and whatnot.
Let's talk about this movie.
What I love about the first Unfriended, and I was gonna tell you in the parking lot about it, but I was like, no, save it for the pod because I want to see your reaction and whatnot. But Unfriended is great because it's really silly and campy and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
This is way more. I feel like it's also silly. Unfriended Dark Web is also like silly, but it's not as silly as the first one because the first one basically centers around a woman shitting herself, and that is
She fully legit shits herself.
So
she's still on Facebook Live.
Spoiler for
here's the
Unfriended
difference.
1.
So the Unfriended movies are these two Unfriended movies are very different. The only two.
Yeah.
They're very different. even though they have the same central conceit. The first Unfriended is basically an after-school special.
It's so funny that these movies are called Unfriended.
Yeah,
it's so dumb.
It's hilarious.
Check this out. Do you know what the original title was going to be?
Fear.com.
Oh, God, hold on. I forgot it.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Was it fear.com?
No, it was not fear.com.
No one has ever felt more pressure right now than for you to.
Oh, my God.
Unfriended.
We'll edit this out if we need to.
Yeah,
fam.
we please edit this out.
Fear.com.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
The original title for Unfriended, I'm not making this up. It was called Cybernatural.
Yes. Yes.
Like, it had a screening under the name Cybernatural.
No.
It made it that far.
At the Grove. I don't know. LA
not
Red.
in the public.
Oh, damn, Steven. Wow. Are you...
I listen to lots of good
You're
podcasts.
looking a lot
where
more
people-
sun-kissed right now.
You guys didn't say anything about the wetsuit that I'm wearing.
And your blonde?
My puka shell necklace. Chakra bras. Anyway, let's talk about
The first Unfriended is an after-school special. The conceit of the movie is there's this group of friends who know this girl who had a video taken of her when she got way too drunk at a party and passed out and shit her pants.
And they show it, and it's fabulous.
It's a great shit your pants upskirt, basically.
And it's not like a little.
It's
violent.
full on. Like, it looks
Squirty.
like a fucking baby shower diaper contest.
And it's an upskirt scat.
Yes.
Like cell phone video.
Yes.
Oh man.
So what happens is they film this girl. They release the video to tease her, and she ends up killing herself. So that's like the setup for the movie, and then the movie itself is like these teens having their regular Skype group chat.
Yeah, they don't.
Which is, I guess, something.
Oh, and they're
teens do.
bagging on her, and it's her ghost.
No. They're not talking about her at all, really. But like, you're meant to think that these are like the good kids because they're all like, oh, I can't believe what happened to what's her name and whatever. And then eventually throughout the movie, the ghost is tormenting them, and it gets revealed that they all contributed to her downfall in some way. They all were the ones who caused this.
I mean, it's like it's sort of infantilizing a little bit. It feels like an after-school special about bullying.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
absolutely is.
That's what it is. This movie and I was telling you about this. This movie reminds me, Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark, was in like a BBC 3 or Channel 4 movie that's called Cyberbully. That is like this, like visual format, and it's literally about, I don't know if it's full on like shit ghosts, but it is this thing though where like we're like trying to sort of like capture this new technological phenomenon and do like a scary movie about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, this one sounds so patently dumb.
Oh, it is
very dumb.
So on the nose. Like it is the most for teens movie I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that is so Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan. As soon as I watched, I was like, "Oh, I see why Dylan loves this."
Dylan's
a teen at heart.
for life.
Yeah. But that said, like, I liked it. I thought it was fun. I mean,
but here's what I haven't seen it, so this is an unqualified opinion. But like, I think the mistake is the supernatural mixed with the technological.
Exactly.
Because it's like that feels like hokey to me. I mean, The Ring does it very effectively, and then but like kind of like once it's done. Once we've reached the mountaintop, once we've seen the pinnacle of it, like sort of like you have to walk away from it.
Steven, you're exactly right.
Yes.
That's why in Unfriended Dark Web, there's not a supernatural element.
No. And it's scarier.
And it's
scary.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. It is 100% scarier than
Yeah.
the first Unfriended was. Yeah, it was interesting to hear not the director, but it was like some executive at Blumhouse was giving an interview about it, and they talked about how their approach to filmmaking now is less like, let's make a direct sequel. Like, it's almost never satisfying when you just have like, let's do the same thing
Just pull it through,
over again.
Yeah.
Their approach has been, these are going to be different genres. So like,
but always the same format.
always the
always
same
looking at a
format,
screen.
same central premise. So like, they're doing it with Unfriended, but they're also doing it. They're talking about this like Blumhouse wide, like all the movies.
Oh, wow, yeah.
They're talking about it for The Purge.
Yeah.
The first Purge is a home invasion movie, straight up.
Okay,
The second
the first Purge, as in the first film of the Purge franchise.
Purge 1
versus Purge 4, the first Purge.
the Ethan Hawke Purge,
Which
Come on.
When is even happening?
Is a home invasion movie. The second Purge I don't really know much about, but it's apparently like different from that. I take it out. Purge election year is just like a straight up bananas, like totally insane political commentary,
and
satire.
seemingly closes the book on the Purge series because it's like the Purge is done, the politician wins.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know what happens in that movie, but now the first Purge, the newest one that came out, he described it as like New Jack City set in the Purge.
Yeah.
Like it's like it which sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So that's their whole approach. They're just taking the central conceit of what they're doing and applying. They're like, what would be fun to do? And with Unfriended Dark Web, it seems like they just wanted to make like a hacker thriller.
I mean, that is like, as like we're all makers, so like in that space, that is very compelling from a sort of like creative standpoint, because also like these movies, like I like this kind of iterative approach where it's like you don't recognize anybody. We have a central premise and we kind of like reinvent the format or the kind of like flavor of it every time. I mean, very cool. And then like, you know, you get to make a bunch of these and just sort of like see what resonates with people. I mean, I will just a note about the cast from this movie, and it's the same feeling I got whenever we watched Invitation. It's like it's weird, right? Because you're just watching these fucking like unmemorable, blandly attractive LA dildos, like, and then just watching bad things happen to them. So it's like, from a like Haneke perspective, I'm like, yeah, I like watching these. I like watching these like people who are all in like really nice, like cool apartments and stuff like that get hurt.
Yeah.
Well, so kind of
make that pretty blonde woman cry into the camera for 7 full minutes.
Yeah, that was all
was
she
brutal.
really had to do. That was rough.
But it's like, I feel like a lot of like horror and also action movies kind of are ahead in terms of like
yes,
both social issues
yes,
and
absolutely.
also sort of like Hollywood trends and whatnot. Because I feel like a lot of people have been sort of talking about the death of celebrity and whatnot, and how there aren't famous people anymore. It's there are properties that are famous.
Yes, exactly.
And so, but horror's been doing that forever. Of just like, do you know the person who starred in? I was gonna say the Skulls, but like, yeah, everyone stars in Skulls.
Yeah,
Josh
from
Hell yeah. But it's like any of the Saw movies. Like the most famous person from the Saw movies,
Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, Carrie Elwes, who's in the first one.
Isn't Danny Glover in it?
Danny Glover and Donnie Wahlberg,
and
like
Jigsaw himself,
Tobin Bell.
So
but
your
those
theory
movies made
is
$1 billion, and that was what 2003.
Yeah,
that people are talking about now in terms of Marvel movies. This movie is incredibly, I think, like progressive in its terms of like,
oh yeah,
and its depictions of differently abled people, because like deafness plays a very central role in the movie, but it's not something that is commented upon really.
Yeah.
Like it's not like when.
Well, definitely they're like, oh, like. I mean, definitely that was like engineered, because it's like, this is scary for everybody involved. Now imagine if you kind of can't hear the threat coming for you.
Either you can't hear, or you know, the moment there's a moment in the movie, again spoiler, where he realizes that the hackers can see everything that he's doing, see and hear it, so he starts signing to his girlfriend. Because presumably they don't know sign language. Yeah. And that's like definitely what you're saying, like engineered. They clearly had that idea as a gag to put in the movie.
Yeah.
So built it around that. But what I want to say about the relationship is just like, yes, she is a so she's a deaf woman. He's her boyfriend. The male lead is the boyfriend of this deaf woman. And the nature of their relationship is so specifically about her deafness, which is great.
The current rift.
Yeah, it's not. Even though the gags were engineered around her being a deaf person, it was not a thing where they just like had a character
shoehorned.
And it was like, all right, she's deaf or whatever. But like the entire premise of their relation, or the central conflict of their relationship, is that he doesn't want to learn how to sign because he's scared to commit to that, and he doesn't want to lose her and whatever. That's incredible. That's so good. That's so good.
I feel like the character could have a little bit more to do.
Oh, absolutely.
She's like used as like a weird kind of like, you know, it's this like damsel thing where it's like something bad happens to a woman so that we have like motivation for the. And I fucking, guys, fully putting it out here. This will not be a hot controversial take, because I think you'll probably back me up on this. But what is the protagonist? Matthias. fuck this motherfucker. Because this dickhead got all of his friends killed.
He got them all killed.
Fucking stole a laptop.
Right.
This is white male hubris run amok.
Yes, yeah.
He gets all of his friends killed, and he had an opportunity to shut that fucking laptop down when things got wild.
Well, now hold on a second, though.
Did I misread this?
Yes.
I know that it was all engineered to make them do it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But
that's
like,
the
if he
thing.
just shut it down, they would have like found a way to kill all of them anyway. If he just would have been like, "This is weird," and then just taken it back to the store.
Yeah, I imagine that they
would
would
have had a plan
just
for
had
it.
a plan for that. Yeah, it's like when you're playing a video game. It's like if you go this direction,
The branching logic tree.
exactly.
Yeah, they talk about it in the
They
thing.
talk about it specifically
right.
in the movie. Okay, but sorry.
still fuck
sorry.
him.
I just have to say that, and then continue to say this for the me's and the Emmas who are listening. It does feel like Emma and I wouldn't have gotten killed in Unfriended Dark Web, because we would have been like,
hey.
bye, plane ticket. We would have flown to like Papua New Guinea, where like there was no reception, and they wouldn't be able to get
The
us.
circle is global.
The circle's everywhere, man.
Steven.
They're in London. They're in major metropolitan areas. That's why I'm going to it. A continent or a sort of a weird tropical island.
Would you say an island?
Ah!
Would you take a river to get there? Take the river.
The river.
So okay, I guess you're right. I'm trying. My tendency is to try to
Victim blame?
Is to definitely. I'm always happy to do that in this context, but also to be like, you wouldn't catch me in these situations.
Yeah.
I would have.
First of all, you never played Cards Against Humanity.
Oh my god! My god! I take it all back. I totally forgot that there is literally
They all deserve to die.
like 7 minutes of this movie where we just watch these fucking dirtbags
if
play
you are
Cards
listening
Against Humanity.
and you play Cards Against Humanity, you're not funny.
No.
All right. Nothing you're saying
Well,
is
this is the
shocking.
day the podcast
You're
ended.
not clever. This isn't dangerous. Like none of us
it's
are
trash.
shocked.
It's
It is
not
a
funny. It's
trash
garbage.
game.
That
Stop
part in the
playing
movie
it,
where
please.
it's like, since I have not disclosed that this is the second time I have seen Unfriended Dark Web. I saw it on Monday alone, and then I saw it again tonight.
We were talking about doing this, Steven and I, like as a plan of like what to do while Emma was
Yeah.
out of town. And we were like, well, who should we invite to do it with us? We want to have a guest. And then like Dylan came up naturally because you're great. And also we knew that you had seen it. And then we talked about it. You kind of just invited yourself along.
I should have fucked did.
For the second time, which shows your passion and enthusiasm.
I love the
for
Unfriended
the
your way into
Unfriended
this fucking
cybernatural universe.
Here we go again. No, but there's back to shitting on Cards Against Humanity because I hate
Yes,
comedy.
please, can we?
That part where what's her Lex? She's reading her card.
Yes.
Lex is a cool DJ in the movie.
Is that what's going on there?
I think
turn on
so.
a light, Lex.
Yeah, she lives in a.
You in
Pretty
English
studio.
need to turn on a light.
Yeah.
It's creepy in your apartments.
But she was like,
English.
oh yeah, his name is English. He was like, I'm from Malibu, and she's reading a Cards Against Humanity card, and I like long walks on the beach and snorting coke off a clown's dick, and Matthias goes, what? I was like, shut up.
I mean,
oh my god.
I groaned in the theater, and I'm not a person that has a lot of like involuntary reactions like that.
like watching those scenes, even when they're like kind of like essentially playing Cards Against Humanity at gunpoint, like later in the movie, I was like, oh, this is cinema verite, because the way that everybody's fucking busting up at these piss poor, dumb, not shocking
Sub Family Guy
jokes,
For real.
I'm like, this is how it's been every time I've had to play this. And then Claire has to listen to me go like do like a 30-minute rant as we drive home from like whatever party we're at. We're like, I can't. So it's like, if you're my friend and you're listening to this, love you, but also like some of you know what you've done.
Look, you have to know if you're a fucking civilian that like clear my throat. As a comedian, it's a fucking nightmare. It is a fucking nightmare
When
game.
you play Cards Against Humanity with people that know you do comedy and you
Oh,
don't win,
God.
they're like, "Oh, I'm funnier than you, Dylan."
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're
And
clearly
it's
you're
like,
not.
actually, allow me to explain the joke construction to you, and actually, like, let me stump for why I'm and then I'm explaining the joke, and it's a
Yeah,
position I
it's
don't
a
want to
whole
be in.
thing.
It's like, you went for the cheap laugh, mine had tone to it.
oh
Yeah, the cheap laugh gets every time. It's always like a monkey farted it on my shithole.
Yeah.
People are always like, and Frank automatically wins every round. It's like, okay,
It's
cool,
like
man.
put it in the same pit with like roast comedy,
Yes.
and like with anybody who's like, oh, you can't say anything these days because I mean, also the thing that's gross about it, it's like, or it, like if you're
I'm
like
an
a South
equal
Park,
opportunity
I'm a
offender.
South Park libertarian, and like everybody gets a taste of my rape your wit. It's like, no, fuck off.
Fuck right
It's
off
just
to
like
hell.
a weird way for you and your friends who are probably all white to get
Yep.
together and just take shots at people. Like, all right.
Where were we?
Unfriended Dark Web. Let's just do a quick plot synopsis of this movie, because I feel like we haven't.
I do feel like it is a
Yeah.
thing that we need to do for something that's out in the theater.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
Because you cannot. I guess you can probably find it on Wikipedia for like our stans who are listening who
Yes.
just like want spoilers. So the premise is it is essentially a found footage. It's like an evolution in found footage in the
Yeah.
sense that we're like all watching kind of like video feeds and stuff like that. The entire time we're just looking at a desktop of a computer and we're watching different Skype and like Facebook interfaces and Facebook video calls.
Shout out to all the brands getting that good product
Yeah,
placement
yeah.
in this movie. This is essentially the emoji movie. Everybody shit on the emoji movie. It's like, oh, Dropbox paid to have their placement. That's exactly what this is.
Dropbox is in the emoji movie?
Oh yeah, there's like a moment where it's like, whoa, look, we're in the place where all our cool favorite apps come from. There's Dropbox. It's
Oh,
fucking garbage.
my-
This movie's doing the same thing. Fucking Wreck-It Ralph 2 is doing the exact same thing also. I don't know if you see...
Oh, they go to Facebook.
Sorry to interrupt the synopsis,
Yeah.
but in the Wreck-It Ralph 2 trailer, Ralph goes to the internet, and it is that exact same thing where they're like, whoa, check it out, we're on the internet. There's Google. There's Snapchat. It's like, I'm gonna fucking drive a car into the sun.
And then Kyle's avatar is there, like cutting a broadband wire in half, and he's like
Bugs Bunny,
Yeah.
I'm just sawing it.
It's free because
Sawing
you're
it
the
up.
product. You're basically AJ from Unfriended
Unfriended
Dark
Dark
Web. And you're going to get swatted on the way home, my dude.
Yeah.
Another spoiler alert.
I'm Banksy, but for these internet product placement movies.
Y'all, what we're trying to say is this podcast is essentially a long con to recruit you for the compound that we're building that is in this sort of like,
Yes.
I don't know, like the...
It's in Killeen.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to stay in Texas.
Yeah, no.
Stuff's only going to get better
If you're gonna
here.
build a compound,
It's like 143 degrees outside right now.
Oh, it's so hot in my apartment because my apartment is so. I live in a really old building, and I only have
The
central
address
AC,
is-
and my
Central
whole house
AC is
is
good.
windows. No, I don't have central
Oh, you
AC.
don't?
I have
Oh,
just
poor
I have one
baby.
window unit,
Yeah.
and all of my walls are like floor to ceiling windows. I live in an aquarium. My deodorant melted in my house the other day. Melted.
Oh my
Deodorant
god. So at Garsee, send him some money on.
Please,
I guess.
get
Please.
this poor boy some smell good.
Okay, so this is it's a sequel to Unfriended, which is a movie about a shit ghost. This one is like, finally taps that rich vein of scary dark web and Silk Road hackers who are doing nefarious things online. So it's just a bunch of friends. They know each other from college.
I guess college. I could not guess what age
assume
these
so.
people were.
Everybody's a different age. They
For
all
real.
seemingly like they're all far.
Lex is 20.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lex
And then English
an
is like
alum of
42.
college at one point. Yeah.
Anyway, so they all get together. So we get this sort of like prologue kind of with our dumb protagonist who's dating his deaf girlfriend who's not named Papaya, but it is a nickname.
Amaya Papaya.
And I can't. Maya. Okay, that feels like a slur. He's dating this. Okay, I'm cutting that out.
There's this PBS chef I'm obsessed with named Julie Tabbouleh, and
Yes, I know. Yeah,
Oh, you fuck
Yeah,
with Julie
yeah,
Tabbouleh?
yeah.
Oh yeah, because you're on the light. Yeah. Julie Tabbouleh is cool. Amaya Papaya is just a sequel to Julie Tabbouleh.
These all sound like these sound like children's books that get kids excited about food. So has a falling out. Kyle alluded to before. So basically, like she's deaf. He's bad at sign language, and he creates an app that will essentially like allow her to communicate with her by like pulling up random video files to communicate the thing that he wants. Anyway, these two have have a lover's quarrel or like a rift. To me, I'm like, it's interesting, but I'm also ultimately uninterested in that because I just want them to get to the action of the
Get
movie.
the fireworks
sure.
factory.
So he hangs up on his girlfriend and he gets on the Skype call, that like
we all do all the time.
Yep.
Totally normal.
you know how you Skype every Thursday night for a game night with your friends, with the exception of one person who all live in the same city.
Mm-hmm.
That is so fucking dumb. I mean, that is like the thing about this movie where it's like it feels very contemporary, but like from an old person's perspective.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Skype is really like you either have family abroad or you're using it at work.
I don't know if it's an old person's perspective so much as it is just like, this is how we make the movie work. Like,
Okay.
if these people weren't all on Skype together, like, there's not a movie,
But they're not doing like a Google Hangout.
No, yeah, that's true.
So
Skype probably paid a little.
Yeah, my issue
Skrilla
is with the brand
get in there.
authenticity of it. But anyway, so they get together. Our chief dildo, he found a laptop at a
cyber cafe because he's
cyber cafe.
he's in
Cyber cafe.
Estonia in 1998.
He's fucking.
I'd like to draw the jury's attention.
He's a member of Al Qaeda. Apparently, he hangs out at cyber cafes all the time.
I would like to draw the jury's attention to my previous statement that this was written by an old narc. By a 45-year-old, by Blumhouse himself, who I assume is some sort of 70-year-old money Zion.
I think the writer
Zion.
of this is actually like a playwright. Like, that's like his main thing.
That is fascinating.
Because I don't quote me on that.
'Cause you
I'm not
said it
100%
sort
sure
of-
on that, but I think I remember them saying in the interview that they sought out somebody who had extensive theatrical experience.
Well, because it is an interesting narrative challenge to basically like never pull
cut.
away from
Yeah.
the central
Yeah,
action.
it's basically all in like 82 minutes, whatever, however long this movie is.
So essentially, we just watched this movie. So Dildo opens up the laptop. He's eventually through like a lot of machinations of talking to people online is able to this laptop keeps crashing. The hard drive must be full. I need to find the hidden folder on it, and he finds like essentially evidence that the person who owned it is like trafficking in human beings. Has like a
whole cachet of snuff films,
basically.
Yeah.
And to me, we're in the movie theater, we're watching this. So like the first time he goes through the things, he just sees like benign videos of like a portly man like shaking, and then like
always funny. Hey,
Yeah.
love putting a fat person on a screen, and gosh, isn't it funny when they dance?
And
they're just like us.
It's played for laughs, and then it also is on there for a really long time because then he
Yeah.
diverts his attention to something else, and I'm like, all right, guys,
All right,
like,
calm down.
come on.
Oh, it's a big comedy beat. Because
for this hilarious film.
Fatsos, they could have dubbed in a fart sound and have him holding a hoagie, and it would have been just as subtle.
So it's essentially like hackers who are like doing like force attacks or weird like Trojan things to get on your computer and turn on all your security things, all your Nest cams, all of the cameras that are built into your laptops, and basically spy on you.
Very current
Very
Internet of
contemporary.
Things.
You guys can't see it because it's turned away from you, but I do have Japanese washi tape over my camera.
My man.
I use this for work and for pleasure. What I'm trying to say is I jerk off in front of all of this technology that's in front of you guys. So
You know what? I hope someone's watching me jerk off. I usually charge for it.
Yeah, Dylan gets off on that.
Yeah.
do I want somebody to watch that? If it's the government, I mean, like, sure.
Once
why
again,
not?
I don't have any tape or anything over any of my stuff. I just,
let it slide.
I don't know. I'm kind of just like out of sight, out of mind. I just don't think about it.
Well,
that it's possible that it
I'm
could
excited
happen.
about this sort of like brave new world when like we're out of water. And like all of our elected officials have sex tapes, because then it's like fine, we can I don't have to like when I'm running across my bedroom window to like go to the bathroom at night, and as we've stated earlier in earlier episodes, I'm not wearing clothes. I don't have to like feel like scandalized. It's like I can just be naked, like I want to be all the time.
Yes.
Because I don't know, the president's, we've seen his dick. Oh God, we're so close to that.
Wait, it's
so
happening.
close.
Get ready.
Yeah, that piss tape's coming out. Anyway,
We'll do a whole episode about that. Want to talk about a horror movie?
So anyway, essentially the premise of the movie is this guy stole the wrong laptop, and now he's caught in this sort of like rich interwoven hacker network that like buy and sell people and snuff films.
It's a real Most Dangerous Game type
Yeah.
situation. You get the vibe that it's like a lot of rich people paying a lot of Bitcoin
$10 million
to send some people out into the world to kidnap almost all women, looks like, and drill holes in their heads.
Well, okay, so you're talking about, so we're watching this movie, we watch the fat guy, we watch like the kind of like, I don't know, person doing dishes, and then they do a second deep dive into this like Dildo's friends are like, wait, click on the latest videos or the folder that says contributions.
Yeah.
And then it's just like deplorable shit. And guys, I have to tell you, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say I do not want to watch torture porn movies, because this is the closest. Inside's not really.
No.
Inside didn't get close to the phobia I have in the way that this did, because then it is just brutality.
Yeah.
It's like just a woman who's stuck inside a barrel and you just see her eye through it.
One.
You see somebody who's kind of in like a weird industrial pool about to have corrosive stuff
That
tipped
was
on
the
them.
scariest one to me.
It's stomach churning, and I also like, I mean, it's heightened for the kind of like, isn't this depraved? But like, I'm sorry, it feels like it's kind of real too, and it made me very uncomfortable, and I feel sad and bummed out. And so like in that moment, I'm like, oh God. This movie is largely bloodless.
Yeah.
All the kills are kind of like really benign and off screen. I actually think Emma would not get scared of it in the way that like, I don't think it would fuck her up that much, but that little thing there, I was like, this is too gross and dark for me.
It's like maybe 2 minutes of the movie.
If that.
I think that's probably like
maybe
a big reason why this has an R rating. Like if you cut all of that stuff out,
because not a lot of cursing.
There's not a lot of there's I mean there's like
it's like somebody gets shot,
cursing, somebody gets shot. It's like
it's always
not,
fuzzy because it's like webcam footage, or like somebody's doing it on a cell phone and they kind of don't catch the like moment of impact when that woman's pushed off the building. You don't see her hit,
right.
But like it's just like the sort of like imagination of the theater of the mind really like explodes that to a degree that like I'm uncomfortable with. But so like at one point in time, Dildo is like texting with somebody in the dark web, and he's like, hey, like somebody's like, hey, like I sent you the money you want. Like, can I get it or whatever? I don't know. Like this sort of, it's menacing, right? And then all of his friends are like, ask him what he wants, which I'm like, no, dummies. But also like, you're gonna blow your own cover. Anyway,
I would have engaged.
You would have engaged.
So would I.
Yes, I need to know.
Guys, some things are not worth knowing.
Nah,
definitely not true.
Once the genie comes out of the bottle, you can't put it back in.
But the genie in this case is a person somewhere in the world who's like, I want you to go back into a woman's bedroom, kidnap her, drill a hole in her head, take something living, put it in her head, make sure she's got a mirror so she can see it happen.
Yeah, it's awful.
So it's Chekhov's.
But he didn't know that was going to happen when he said, what do you want?
It is a fundamental lack of imagination then, because how is it going to be good? He's already seen the barrel eye.
See, this is the thing where it's like, you know this because you know you're watching a horror movie. If you were in that situation in real life,
guys, I don't pick up phone calls from unrecognized numbers.
Okay, me neither. But that's just because I have a lot of debt.
I see you. What up, player? Me too. Hey,
bro. No, like if this happened to you in real life, put aside the fake, this is not how a computer works shit. Like if you got a Facebook message from someone that's like, did you get the money I sent you? You would absolutely be like, what are you talking about?
Here's my ace in the hole of why this wouldn't happen. Recently, in our sketch team, Pendulum's group chat, all of you were talking about how you got a weird rash of invite requests on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a young woman from Dallas who is every kind of entertainer you can be, she friended all of you guys, and you all accepted that friend request. I did not. I'm like, I don't know you. I don't know what this is. I don't know what you're trying to get out of me. Denied. I wouldn't get caught in the dark web. You fucking assholes are bodies on the River Styx, which is a deep cut from the movie.
It's a very funny joke in the movie.
Sharon will be rowing the boat down Styx, hanging out with our good friend Sharon.
I liked this movie.
Same.
I just think that like maybe this. If you're listening and you like horror movies, this is maybe your least favorite part of this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I like start to just go like, but this,
I wouldn't have done that.
When I start to actually it, but like in this case, I'm just like, guys, I know it has to happen for the movie to continue, but he should like when his mouse is hovering over cancel versus like accepting one of those initial messages. It's like.
It's a conceit. Yes, of course it's a conceit. Who fucking cares?
But I like to talk. Okay. You're right. But it doesn't. I don't think it takes the fun out of it for me. I can still feel all the things that you feel, and also feel like I would not have done that.
Okay, interesting.
I'm compartmentalizing more than you are.
Yeah,
as
probably.
a self-preservation.
Well, I also think I'm just way too trusting. That's something that I got going on.
Yeah.
So there's that. But also just like I fully shut my brain off like big time when I watch these movies. I am never the person that like guesses where the plot's gonna go.
But Kyle, I'm that person too. I don't try to figure out the magic trick at the live magic show that I'm at. You know what I mean? I'm never trying. If it's a mystery, I'm not trying to figure out who done it. It's like they're gonna tell me who did it.
Let it wash over.
Yeah. But and then I don't even think I necessarily have that issue with a lot of the movies we walk on this podcast. I think just for this one, I was just like, no, this is my zone. I know this. This isn't like
if there was an improv horror movie, would you be like, that was?
Isn't that what? I can't pull the reference to make the joke, but isn't that what that awful improv movie was?
Don't think twice.
Oh God, I hated it. Improv is bad.
Improv is bad.
We should cut that. That's the hottest take that we've said on the show yet.
Improv is bad.
Don't do it.
Never mind.
If somebody approaches you and gives you a flyer for a UCB class,
don't do it.
No,
First of all, you're in 10 years ago and you need to find a time machine back because nobody hands out flyers.
Nobody's flying anymore. If somebody's giving you a 3x5 postcard that's got one show on the front and another show on the back, that's for my aughts, my early 2000s New York City comedy heads. Anyway, so I do think it's a good movie. I'm sorry. I do not mean to offend.
No.
I just kind of go there with it.
That's reasonable. That's totally reasonable. I don't think that. Yeah, I get that. I do think that there's just like a tendency for people to want to use that to distance themselves from horror movies.
That is exactly what it's doing.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like to just not invest.
Okay. All right.
Like it's its own. I'm not accusing you of this.
You're in my home. You're drinking my tap water.
I'm not accusing you of this. I'm saying it's a coping mechanism that people use.
Yeah.
I don't think you're using it that way. I think this particular movie, you're feeling that because it's all computer shit and you're a big old nerd.
And I'm a big old nerd.
You're a big old computer
Look at those
nerd.
glasses.
Y'all can't see it. He has got the biggest, thickest glasses, and tape is wrapped around the bridge.
Because earlier he was at the beach and he was about to put the moves on some bodacious bikini babe.
He got the zinc on his nose.
Zinc on his nose.
And then a guy kicked sand in his face, and the next thing you know, he fell into the ocean and somehow broke his glasses.
And now he's got the most severe part and the wettest hair you've ever seen.
Full disclosure, before you guys came over here, I did put away a unused, I'd never use it, pull-up bar that was hanging from a door frame because I was like, everybody, first of all, knows that I'm using this to hang laundry up on. I'm occasionally using it to try to correct my posture, but it's not for the pump. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, so we don't need to do a full synopsis because that nobody wants to hear that.
No.
Go to Wikipedia, read the plot like a true coward does, like I would have done. I would say though, this is just a spoiler alert. I thought about I'm like, we're gonna start doing more of these live movies. Do I do what has been my classic coping mechanism? Read the plot ahead of time on Wikipedia. No, I'm into it, guys.
Hell
I'm leaning full
Yes.
into the discomfort. This movie was not as scary as it was in the moment. Like I said, most of those kills were bloodless. Do we want to talk about some of those kills? Like maybe some faves?
Yeah, absolutely. Fave kill.
Okay.
I was gonna say. I think the one that we all think is the double kill.
So the double kill. So I would say there's two kills that I think are like the chef's kiss. One is the double kill, and then the other one is the swatting.
Yeah.
Because both
swatting.
of those, like, if you're like, because those are like both like they're sort of showing their hand as they're happening, and so it's fun to sort of like hear, even though like we were in a theater that was essentially empty.
Yeah.
I hope there's an Unfriended 3 because this is like
Unfriended 3D.
Yeah. It's going to be virtual reality or something like that. But like, so let me just talk about that swatting one because I do feel like, so horror movies I'm starting to realize are like where Chekhov's gun like really comes to play because every one of these fucking movies has essentially that setup and that payoff. And so all the friends, there is the main guy, there's his girlfriend who's deaf. There's the lesbian couple who one of the women, her parents don't approve, and the other one has a mother who's like essentially in hospice. She's like at a hospital dying of brain cancer.
One of them, I wanted to say this earlier when you talked about how like these are nameless, faceless actors.
She's from something.
One of them is Betty Gabriel, who played the maid in Get Out.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Good pull. I feel
A
like
terrific actor.
She's the best part of the movie. She's my favorite actress.
She's very good in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
She
she's
doesn't
good.
get a lot to do, but she's very good in it.
Yeah. She does fight too before she gets pushed in that plane. I was like,
That
yeah,
was a
get it,
good
girl.
moment.
Then there's like the nerd who's also a bit of an Alex Jones kind of guy, or
Yeah.
he's like off the grid, but he literally lives in his mother's basement.
A little on the nose.
A little on the nose, and then he runs like a kind of like truther.
a very vague truther.
He's like, I've
Yeah.
scrubbed myself from the internet. I also have a very prolific YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Who am I forgetting? There's Asian DJ in English.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not to sort of like essentially like peg people by.
Lex with 2 X's.
I mean, well, that is she doesn't. Lex is almost like a non-existent character until she starts speaking to her mother on the phone.
Man.
That is the worst part of it.
It's a great opportunity for all the white characters to essentially say that she speaks too loud in her, her native
She
language.
starts talking to her mother on the phone in a foreign language, and all the white characters are like, "Oh, mute your mic! It's too much."
Every time she does, she knows though.
Donald Jones'
Yeah.
character
It's okay.
does like the fake accent, kind of.
Yeah, he kind of like feigns toward like a really offensive.
Is he gonna do it?
Yeah, is he gonna actually do it? And he doesn't. They pull away, but you feel like
I mean, it's really hard to kind of like encapsulate exactly what happens in these kills or the gags, if you will, because they are intricate in their setup. Because like you're essentially watching like an unseen person jump into a Skype call or like real time hack, which is like. Yeah, so again, a suspension of disbelief in terms of how that would happen. Like, you're literally watch somebody like get photoshopped into security footage at one point in time, like in real time. But it's cool because it's like, again, showing its hand, and you're sort of seeing how the trap is coming together and how somebody's going to die because of it. And so this one, our basement dwelling nerd, who he set up Chekhov's speakers at some point in time. This guy's got some new sweet speakers. We see him essentially get like entrapped by the hackers, where like they go through all of his YouTube videos and they pull out sound clips and do that thing that they do on Sneakers. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Sneakers.
I haven't.
Where
but
they
I know what
like
you're
call
talking
the police and basically like play back a bomb threat. And then they do like a weird time jump thing where they're like, oh no, that call was placed 10 minutes ago, which I was like, oh, was it good? Anyway, so they essentially make it seem like he's calling in a bomb threat to like a mall, to the cops. And he's like, I'm at this address or whatever. I've got bombs and explosives. I'm going to light shit up. And then you hear, he gets swatted. You hear the police kick down the door. You hear
Here's
his
mom
mother
screaming,
screaming. And then they pull up like a wave file that says like gunshot sound effect, and the cursor circles it a bunch of times.
It's a middle finger.
Yeah, and the cursor's
best
a middle
part.
finger.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's the
That's
middle
so
finger.
good.
And then he goes into the audio settings and like hooks it up to his brand new speakers. And then essentially it's like a shotgun cocking and exploding. And then this dude is like standing at the foot of the basement stairs, and he just gets lit up by cops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like it's like these elaborate traps essentially to like frame people.
It's very Final Destination.
Yeah.
For
Yes.
them to do that.
So like it's later revealed that this is like this huge network of people who are essentially having their own game night. It's like the evil hackers in dark web, people having a game night to like
I love it.
kill all these people. It is a very interesting like payoff. What's the game? Like just figuring out ways to kill them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And make it
or
look like-
maybe there's probably some sort of betting element that goes into it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they kind of introduced like a voting
A voting
like,
thing.
yeah,
system
it's a
in
voting
play.
thing. Yeah.
I think it would have been interesting if he lived. But then I guess you could tell, but like he would always live in fear, and then he would know that he
What's that?
Oh!
Oh.
There's 2 endings to this movie.
What? Where he lives, presumably.
Yes.
They let him live.
Dylan, did you know this?
I thought for sure
No.
he was gonna live.
There are 2 endings to this movie, and I just remembered that.
Wait, are they playing them in different?
Yes, random screenings have
What?
different versions of the ending.
They're the
fuck
same for me.
out of here. Dylan, look it up.
Dylan watched
What
it
is the
twice
other-
and got the same ending each time.
Did you go to the same theater both times?
No, I went to the one.
That's very cool.
That's very cool. I completely forgot about that. That's amazing.
You don't know anything about what the... Well, of course you wouldn't.
No, I
have.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't read it.
I'm just going to say...
Should I spoil the ending?
The
Yeah,
other...
I mean, we've
Wikipedia page.
spoiled a lot right now.
Yeah.
so-
Okay. In the second ending, Mateus texts Amaya to meet him in a familiar spot where he filmed a video of them hiking and sharing a kiss. He arrives at the site and finds a dug hole in the ground. with an open casket before Charon, I don't remember, whatever, knocks him out. Later, Amaya arrives at the hole, and it has been filled. She calls Mateus, and his phone rings, waking him up. He realizes that he's been buried alive and tries to text Amaya about this predicament, but the circle changes all of his messages to, I wish I could sign better. When he attempts to video chat, the circle pixelates out his mouth so Amaya can't read his lips. Amaya gets mad and hangs up, leaving Matthias to die as he runs out of air.
That's a better ending.
That's a better ending.
I feel shortchanged.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I do. That's a much better ending.
Because then it really like pays off the setup, which is like, or the like rift between these two, and his sort of like, I don't know, like ego to a certain extent. Like to me, like his justification of like, I don't know, like I don't want to invest all this time in learning sign language and then lose you. It's like you seem like kind of an asshole then. Like I mean, it's like basic communication for the person you purportedly love.
Yeah,
so like it would have been sweet.
Yes.
And I also hate that character, so I want to see bad things happen to him more than him just getting hit by a bus.
Yeah, that was kind of lame.
Yeah.
Just like, you get hit by a van? What is this? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna meet Joe Black. Why are we doing it? This is 20. You know what I mean? Like, you can't think of anything more creative than that.
Yeah.
There's nothing less creative for a jump scare death than like getting hit by a car out of nowhere. It's like, come on,
I mean,
guys.
it happens literally in Mean Girls.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah, that's a way better ending.
That's cool.
Yes.
I wonder, like, well, so then I guess that's also just like a really smart marketing ploy. I mean, it's a fucked up one because it's like, well, now what is this, like Pokemon or fucking like Kid Robot Dunnies?
Is this Clue?
It literally is Clue. Like, that's what Clue did.
But Clue didn't let you have any idea which one you were going to see. Like,
I don't think so.
No, I don't know. I was -8 when that movie came out.
I loved that movie so much as a kid. I thought the Singing Telegram getting shot was
it's
literally,
so funny.
I mean,
so
it's
funny.
1,000 times funnier than Cards Against Humanity. It's so good.
Yeah, fuck Cards Against Humanity.
That's right. You thought it was safe. You thought our time was over. We're coming
know
for
what?
you unfunny motherfuckers.
Second spicyest take before the goodbye to language reference. I think Apples to Apples is funnier than Cards Against Humanity.
Whoa,
Grade school shit.
Yeah, because it's more wholesome.
Yeah, it's not as problematic as Cards Against Humanity, and like not even in that like equal opportunity offender way. There's just like a lot of gross racial shit in Cards Against Humanity.
I mean, straight up, maybe it's not necessarily Cards Against Humanity's fault, but like we're like living in a climate right now where I do not have time for that shit. I do not want that negativity in my life.
Yeah. Get out of here. Very famous. My arch nemesis, LA sketch comedy troupe, who I hate.
Wow.
Keep this in, Steven.
Shots fired.
You literally no recourse for that, so you'll be fine. Dylan, tell us about the double kill.
The double kill. Oh my god, so good. So what
Sorry
is
to
her
spring
name?
it on you.
Serena. It's okay. She is one half of the lesbian couple. What is her name? I won't say Nani, but that's
Amani.
No, Nani is
Her
the
name
sister
is-
in Lilo and Stitch.
Her name is Nani.
hey, Nani.
She's an old Middle English explanation.
Her name is Nani.
What's that, Steven?
I can't say poontang without laughing. It is a very funny word.
Her name is Nari.
Oh God!
yeah,
we have to cut out all the parts where we just sort of like riffed names that we thought sounded right. Uncomfortable.
So Nari had left. Her fiance has left to go to the police station to try to stop this, and the hackers gave explicit rules of no one leaves, no one makes phone calls. So then cuts all the lights in Serena's house and plays this like long video. La 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 la. They're in love, but like they're sad about her mom being, in a hospital or whatever.
Having brain cancer
And being dead. And edits this clip of Serena saying, you have to choose on that. I don't want to make you choose. I don't make you choose, which is like a kind of recurring thing of people being edited to say things they didn't out of context. So good. But then two video feeds come up. One is CC footage of her mom in a hospital in the dark with just like the beat machine. What is it from Monty Python, The Meaning of Life?
You're like,
the machine that goes bing.
Yeah.
It's that. And then also security footage from the subway station at which Nari is standing right next to the subway tracks, whatever.
And there's a guy in a hood.
Like behind her. And also
Very
you
subtly
see
yeah.
Amaya Papaya, Julie Tabuli, in her subway car because she's traveling the subway for a good portion of the movie, and you just are waiting for that subway to start moving because it's stalled at a certain point. And then you see in the top right corner of the Skype thing, it's like choose 30, 29, and it's individual messages is counting down, and she starts freaking out and is crying all on. It goes down to 0. And
she's like,
I will not.
It
does not do the thing that you think it's going to do. The obvious choice is to kill her mom.
Yes,
her mom is already
going to die and
terminal
has
brain
lived a
cancer.
life.
Like
yeah,
they
exactly.
set it up at the beginning, like she's going to be dead in weeks.
Yeah,
like you would have bought yourself a couple of extra weeks time, which like I understand it's a difficult choice, but like Jesus Christ,
you gotta kill the mom.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yes,
this is your wife.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy, but she makes no choice. She makes an indignant
to participate.
Like, no, I'm not choosing,
which is still cool in its own right.
Like, principles in this situation are dumb.
I believe it was Rush that said, "What is it?"
I believe it was Rush that said,
"I still have made a choice."
I believe it was Rush that said, "Have you seen that Godard movie?"
But so she doesn't choose. Then so they're like, "Okay," and
okay,
yeah,
they kill the mom first. They unplug the. But it goes bonk. It makes that Mac sound effect that's like donk.
When you misclick on a Mac, it goes donk.
Yeah,
and I was like, guys, I literally thought, I'm like, did I pass out for a second? What just happened? Did I miss something?
Because the it's at night, and so there's no sunlight coming in. It's basically just like one green little like Xbox light that's on in the hospital room to where you can't really see, and that just goes out, and then you're like, oh fuck, she's dead.
She's dead. Donk.
And then, oh my god,
very funny.
You cuts back to Nari, and then you see Amaya's feed where the subway car starts moving, and the light from the subway comes in, and the guy just starts to just wrestle her in right in front of the subway. She gets hit by it, and then you also see Amaya's subway car kind of come to a stop and kind of like a little like, don't, and it's just like,
did the hoodie guy die too?
It looked like he died because it cuts away, but look at they both died.
So that's what the cool moment about that is, like, it does give you it is a super bummer, but it gives you a little teeny tiny bit of a victory where it's like she fights him and pulls him onto the track with her. That's pretty rad. But
I know that I'm the victim blamer, but like her paranoia should be heightened. Yeah. She's standing so close to the tracks. I don't know if you guys knew this about me, but I used to live in a city where public transit.
Mass transit liker.
Get away from the fucking edge, you dummy. And also, like, there's nobody on that platform. You would know if a guy in a hoodie had his back to you and is just looking at the wall, like looking at a map. You are hyper aware of everybody that's all around you. So she deserved.
Also, Mattia, whatever.
Mateus. Mathieu is the husband and Inside. Mateus is the boyfriend. And
what is with Dylan? What is with these fucking French Matthews you're bringing us? He could have given her a heads up of like, hey, guy in a hoodie. Like these are all guys in black hoodies.
Well, they cut his feet too.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
They do a lot of kill all. Matty drives trucks. What is his handle name?
Matty Sweet Wheels.
Matty Sweet Wheels with a Z.
At gmail.com.
Matty Fast Wheels.
Fast Wheels. There are so many like little throwaway gags, which
there's
is
a lot of really good gags in this.
You know, it's like animators notoriously, like traditional animation, have a tendency to stick, you know, like weird, like coded or hidden messages in it, like, oh, the Lion King does says sex, and oh, this guy popped a boner during Ariel's wedding, whatever. And it's because like that work is solitary work, and generally only deviants and perverts are drawn to that sort of thing. And so, like, just because the tools are fancier and faster now doesn't mean the same weird isolated losers aren't like, oh, that seems like a cool way to like make a living.
Steven, I believe in our Pendulum group chat the other day, you said we should chemically castrate anyone who's in a BFA animation program.
So, full disclosure, when I was in grad school, we shared a floor with the BFA animators, and like, I mean, straight up pedo watch or like whatever sort of list, it's like they're all there. I mean, if you just like To Catch a Predator shouldn't go to all this trouble of like hiring a 30-year-old woman who looks like she's 12. Just go to School of Visual Arts and tag all those animators, man. They are all child molesters.
We don't need a dragnet. Just head to fucking Cal Arts. They're all there.
I think those are the two best kills, but like one woman gets just straight up pushed. The first friend gets pushed off a a building. There's also this like recurring motif, which I'm like, this is what I love the most about this, because I'm like, they're like, like fuck it. Like there's like a stylistic component to it, because like hackers are like basically supernatural whenever they exist in Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
So like they all have a sort of camouflage cloaking thing. So when they move through the video feed, it's like data moshed and it's like heavily pixelated, so you can never see them, or like, and they're kind of like jumping around the frame. Very effective visual device.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, he's found a way to hack Facebook Messenger, so his messages show up in black, real big and angry in black instead of blue, and then he can like revise the history, so they all shake and go.
They play reverse Facebook new
So there's no
sound.
trail of any of his messages.
Oh, it's great.
So homegirl gets pushed off the top of a building. English gets essentially hung and then framed for suicide, like and for the stealing of the women.
Thing, yeah.
I think the funniest bit, like thing in the whole movie is whenever the hacker is writing the suicide note and like, me and my friends did a terrible thing. I couldn't forgive myself. Here's all the evidence, and then does a smiley face,
smiley emoticon,
like, and then erases.
Yeah. And then who else? So then, mother, cancer mom, she just essentially gets stomped off screen. Basically, right?
Yeah.
Poor Amaya just gets like tackled, and I guess presumably turns into one of those women in the video.
Amaya becomes one of those video women. I'm sure that's like an interesting like kink or wrinkle for whoever's gonna buy her, that she's deaf. So they'll dream up some nightmarish way to like I don't know,
beat her with headphones.
Put a bug in her
thinking,
ear.
Steven, I had not thought of that. You fucking animal.
They'll exploit that. Also, Amaya's roommate, who just showed up and had the misfortune of essentially noticing the camera was on, gets just clubbed over the head and is probably dead, even though he says he just knocked her out. She's in that basement dead.
I would assume.
Yeah.
And so then the big reveal is they pull back on this, and it's essentially like I said earlier, it's game night for all the evildoers.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet payoff.
It's an anti-capitalist movie. I'm choosing to interpret it that way.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And you two are vibrating, it's fair to say, when the trailers come up.
That's what I said. And literally described myself that way at the end. I was like, I was so pumped. It was so fun.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's breezy. It's just you're in and out, half an hour, not an hour and a half, not even that.
Yeah.
First of all, I love goofy hacker shit.
I love goofy
is
hacker
one of my
shit.
favorite
Hackers,
bad movies. It's incredible.
It's so good.
Can we just like real quick
Everybody
do our
is
favorite
hot
Hackers
as
moments?
Fuck in Hackers.
Everybody's super hot in Hackers.
I've never
Hackers is
seen
another
Hackers.
horny movie. Like
it put in that Scream category because it's that 90s thing where like I'm like, yeah,
fuck yeah.
the East Village when everything's like like latex and rollerblades.
My favorite part, we're gonna do our favorite Hackers moments real quick. My favorite part in Hackers was when what's his fucking name? What's the actor's name? The fucking
Matthew Lillard.
The villain.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
He sent Fisher Stevens.
He sends. I recognize him from when he played different ethnicities in the Short Circuit movie.
He sends Johnny Lee Miller, Zero Cool, a laptop. And he opens it, and a video file with him immediately starts playing. And it's instructions, and he goes, "Set your computer to receive a file." It's the funniest thing in the world to me.
I like that when anytime anybody is like essentially dick measuring, and then there's like a party, like a cool high school party where like all these people are like living in some sort of fuckfest future because they're all rich Manhattan kids, and then they go upstairs and they're like holding Angelina Jolie's computer and like talking about her rig, and it's like, oh, it's got like a 28.8 baud modem, and like literally just like listing off all the specs. Because it's never going to age well, and they're so horny for that, like for the specs. And then I also like when he and I think it's sexy and fun and kind of flirty when he and Johnny Lee Miller, Angelina Jolie are doing the pranks with each other to kind of flirt, and he pops open that umbrella in the hallway, and then like
it's so horny. It's so horny.
What about you, Dylan? Did
I've never seen
watching Hackers. We're gonna watch it, dude.
I've seen.
We're gonna watch it. We're gonna
Swordfish.
jerk off together.
Yes, does Swordfish count? I watched that.
Swordfish absolutely counts.
I love it.
I love Swordfish.
I love throwaway, I love cheap throwaway nudity where it's just like she won an Oscar and she's topless in that dumb fucking movie. It's
for
like
no reason.
It's so dumb.
Made herself an extra $1 million.
Yeah.
Put another zero at the end of my name.
I love I love the casting of Hugh Jackman as the world's greatest hacker.
God.
It's like,
God, it's so good.
oh, we're gonna do a spin-off hacker podcast.
Yeah,
Hacker
we're
Pod,
doing it.
Hacker
Pod.
Just a short run podcast where we watch all the hacker movies.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch Black Hat. Have you ever seen that one?
Yes,
I have not seen
Also,
Black Hat.
Hat's
it's
awesome.
Thor playing the world's greatest hacker. It's
Yes.
this thing where they
Hunks.
find Hollywood's like most hunky man, and then he's like a dangerous hacker. So yes, this
finger
Meanwhile, they
guns
all
you had.
actually look like DJ Qualls.
they don't look unlike AJ, who gets lit up by the cops in this dumb fucking
Yeah,
movie.
true.
They all look like the first guy in the circle who you immediately see who looks like some weird version of like Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's what
He
every
looks like
hacker I've ever
Kevin
seen.
or Jason Mewes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jason Mewes.
Yes.
That's his name.
Yeah, so I think like so. Please more hacker tropes. They're great, but in this one, it's really effective because it's like they're moving around screen and they're like camouflaged the entire time. It looks
Yeah.
fucking cool.
It's fucking
great.
It's so cool.
Total nonsense. I love it.
So let's do some ratings.
Yes. Let's
Yeah.
do
It is crazy late.
Yeah, it's really
Yes.
late.
What do we do?
It's a fucking work night.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'll go first. I love this. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
It's like dumb in a way that like I'm totally cool with because
Yes.
I'm not a snob. I am, but like I don't.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not.
Okay. So thumbs up. It was fun. I think like just a personal vote where like I am really interested in like I want to read up on like the sort of actual technical making of it. Like I want to know how they
Yes.
filmed it, and like this sort of stage angle is like really compelling. This sort of like almost teleplay. And then I'm just the whole time watching and going like trying to find the cuts and like thinking about the sort of composition or animation of it. So like it was very fun. I loved it. I'm gonna give it.
What's the relaxing scale this time?
Oh, very good
Yeah.
question.
Spotify tracks that you played during a video chat for some reason.
This guy was like trying to fucking set the mood for the first 20, 30 minutes of this movie, like always jumping around. It's because Spotify
Some record
presumably
company
paid them. Yeah.
paid. It was like, we got this new single. We want to put all these in the movie.
I like where I know we're in the ratings, it would be like a 1 second thing, but like that. Like his Spotify playlist, where it'll tell you like when you added it into the playlist,
Yeah.
and like the first 2 songs were like over a year ago. One was 7 months, and then the next two were like 2 weeks. Where it's like, what weirdo has a 2-track playlist for a year?
Well,
and
you
then
know, they're
adds one
momentous
song.
songs in he and Amaya
Yeah.
Papaya's relationship. So, like, it was real hot and heavy in the beginning, and then it's fucking Dullsville because he's like
The
at
second
ASL
song was
classes
"Sweet
all
Dreams
night.
Are
Like,
Made
trying
of This," though.
I think maybe like block or like Bitcoin conversion rates.
How many bitcoins to Ethereums?
We didn't mention it, but we did see this with our dear friend Tevis, who's the only person we know who has Bitcoin. And the whole time I was like, this is what you're using it for, isn't it, you monster?
I sold my Bitcoin immediately whenever it was $17,000 of Bitcoin because I only had 0.02, and I bought concert tickets.
Nice.
Yeah, blockchain.com comes up and we all just sort of lean forward and turn to look at him like, you monster, you love this, idiot.
How
You're in the
hard are you
circle,
right
you're
now,
on the
Tevis?
river, aren't you?
We love you,
Share
Travis.
on.
He's going to be on the show soon.
Yeah. So I would say, so this is a weird one, rating it because it's like, the theater heightens it.
Yeah.
So like, I don't feel like it's scary in retrospect. And it's weird. It's like, I've started to like want to watch the movies that we watch again. Like after we watched Scream, I watched Scream 2 that night by myself.
Yes.
No big deal. Bragging.
Nice.
So I'd like to watch this again.
Hell yeah.
So I don't think it's scary, but I do think it was scary in the theater. I literally at several points, I don't know if you guys clocked it, eyes up, or shirt up over the glasses, couldn't watch it, fingers in the ears. Just had to block some of it out. I'm going to give it a 4.
Nice.
Guys,
Okay.
it's a 2. I think the theater makes
Theater
it a 4.
heightens it quite a bit. Yeah.
It wasn't gross. It wasn't gory. That I was very put off though by that torture bit.
Yeah.
Is that like?
Yeah, it's not fun. Not fun.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's me.
Unless
Thumbs
you're
up.
an absolute monster like Dylan. Or me, to be honest.
Thumbs up 2/4.
Thumbs up. Absolutely thumbs up. Again, vibrating after. It's so great. I'm enjoying talking about it. I feel like there's so much more even that we haven't gotten into about it. There's a lot going on in this dumb B movie.
They pack a lot of detail in. There's a
Yeah.
lot of expository monologues about
A lot of detail, a lot of like zeitgeisty, things in there.
that they have to explain so that a huge audience will get everything that's happening.
Yes. And then as far as scariness ratings, I would say so. initially I'm like 1.5. But there were moments in this movie where I was like squirming. It wasn't scariness. It was just like, oh, I can't look at this. This is bad.
Yeah.
And that would be like when the hole in the head, the one that has the hole in the head.
Oh my god, that's so intense.
It pays off.
It pays off. You get to see a woman who's got a.
Was it a penny? What was
some sort of plug in her head? I don't know
I
what
looked
it
away.
was. It's pretty gnarly. It was pretty gnarly. And I forget what else. There were moments where I was like, I can't look at this. This is crazy. So I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 3. Yeah. It wasn't like scary so much. It's just like tough to watch in some moments. It's not a fun hang.
Everybody in this movie
it is, but like
it is
not,
fun.
Yeah.
Everybody in this movie practices bad feng shui because they're all like the whole room is behind them. And every entry point is behind them. So it's like it's perfect. So like they can't see, but you can see.
Check your corners.
Gotta check those corners. Dylan.
Sorry. I didn't give my scale. 3 riverboat rides down the Minecraft river.
It was an interesting choice to make it sort of like Minecrafty. It's like
the visual representation of like the
dark
web they choose is like a river
from Minecraft.
Meant to represent the river Styx.
And it's Captain Sharon. Thumbs way the fuck up.
Yes. Hell yeah.
My whole hand is made of thumbs. And they're all up. As far as scariness, I mean, like, I know. One, man, it was just fun. Like, I wasn't ever like scared, really. I just had like a great time. I would need one, like, I don't know, one papaya to calm down. Just one. No, papayas are gross. I don't know, like, I would need one trip to my local cyber cafe.
One round of Cards Against Humanity with my best pals.
One trip to my cyber cafe and then maybe a dust off at the discotheque.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, so I think a rounding endorsement go. It's
check it out.
It's been out for a couple weeks.
Now that we've explained everything that has happened in the movie. No, it just came out this past weekend.
It made like $5 million.
Yeah.
So it made a profit.
Yeah, it made a profit.
No way it cost more than $8 million
like tripled the amount of money that it cost to make.
Fuck yeah. So Unfriended
There's
virtual reality is
going to
come.
for sure.
Ooh, it made $3.5 million this weekend, finishing 9th at the box office.
Yeah, but it cost like $1 million to make or something.
Yeah, and there's definitely not a lot of promo.
Yeah.
Go see that movie. I think we enjoyed it. Let's do a little pluggy plug.
Yeah.
Dylan, where do we find you online? You got any stuff you want to? This will come out Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Cool. You can find me on Twitter at Dylan Garsee. It's spelled like it will be in the episode. Then you can find me at too many places because I say yes to too many things. But I will plug. I don't fucking know.
What are some local comedy shows?
Local comedy shows. Every other Saturday, you can find me performing in the Rose at Cold Town. Every Saturday, starting in the middle of
Austin,
August,
Texas.
you can find me teching/writing a lot of Martini Ranch's third sketch review.
Yeah, so if you're a comedy fan and you live in Austin, Texas, go see that show.
Check that out.
And then Pendulum,
Third Thursday.
And
go ahead.
Can we? I don't know if it'll be out, but then there'll be other shows, other opportunities for us to see us soon.
Yeah, so just follow
vague.
Dylan on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find out about those shows.
Yes.
Oh, hey, August 10th, if you guys are interested, you should come out to a live taping, our second live taping of this podcast. Our special guest has been confirmed. Katie Stone. We're very excited to have her.
Hilarious
that should be awesome.
comedian.
Very funny comedian. Also exciting. She's a coward like me and Emma.
Yeah.
So we're coaching her a little bit on what she should bring. We don't have an obvious theme this time. Like it's not a Friday the 13th. So we're going to do our usual thing where
I literally tried to Google August themed horror movies today. It did not go well.
There's not a holiday in August.
There's none.
The dog days of murder. So come out to that. As always, I think you can find us on all the social networks at We Are Deaf Afraid. You can find us on iTunes. Like and subscribe, leave a review, Spotify as well. By all means, if you like the show, please do subscribe if you're listening for the first time, and tell your friends. We're that sort of like listenership is growing, and we're excited about that.
And let us know. We want to hear like what you guys think of the show. If you have any thing you want to let us know, get at us on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Send us a message. We love that.
Somebody left us a Twitter message today. We were just reading it before we started recording. Who's telling us about the origin of the final girl in that book. Men, Women, and Chainsaws.
The three genders.
Three genders. I just bought it on Amazon. I'm very excited to read it. That's another coping mechanism is how can we look at all of this from an academic point of view and distance ourselves a little bit from the horror?
Yeah, shout out to Twitter user at Showgoth Rodeo. Yeah, thanks for reaching out about Men, Women, and Chainsaws. It was really cool.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
That's it.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
I love you.